just as I pressed play. So you can tell I'm not in Europe anymore. Cockatoo. Anyway, welcome to this video. They've all come out just as I press play. So yes, I'm not back. I'm not in Europe. I am in Australia with all the lovely little tweeting birds that we have here. Oh, interesting actually, because what I want to chat about in this video is sovereignty, and I feel like all these birds are just claiming their sovereignty with their own sound. So maybe that's it. Maybe I can end the video here. That's all we need to learn. Anyway, it's lovely to be back here with you. It's been a few weeks since my last video, and it's been a challenging time, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. Also a beautiful time. Yes, I am back in Australia, and in this video I want to create I want to talk about a few things, and most particularly sovereignty. It's very strong for me at the moment, and I've noticed quite a few people referring to it, so I felt I wanted to talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Rose of Venus, and I'll go into that more in a minute. And there was something else I wanted to chat about with you. Oh, hang on. I actually wrote notes. I don't usually. There was actually, it was just bringing through a transmission from, perhaps a transmission from the Mary. So I'm going to see how the video flows. It feels a little erratic so far with that start. But anyway. Let me recenter, and I'll go back into it. I really wanted to record this outside, so there is a little bit of traffic noise playing at the moment, but just because the bird sound is so awesome here where I am. So I'm in a place called Nelson Bay in New South Wales. I had to fly back here. Well, as you know, if you saw my last video from Glastonbury, my mum was ill and was transitioning, and so I flew back to Australia. And for those of you who aren't on my newsletter list, or you haven't, or are part of my Telegram chat, you may not realise, but I did get back in time to see mum, and in fact I spent about 8 days with her, being able to visit her in her aged care facility. And the night before she passed, which was the 30th of July, I was able to spend the night with her. At the aged care facility, they brought in a little bed for me, and so I was with her all night, and then I was with her when she passed the next morning, which was very beautiful, just to be with her for her last gasp, really. And then I had my rose oil from Bulgaria with me, so I anointed her. It was a really sacred time. And so even though, yes, I left Europe 5 or 6 weeks earlier than planned, but I would not have missed that for the world. It was one of the most sacred moments of my life, to be with my mum to the end. Anyway, so I've had a couple of weeks since then, really in an inward focus, and I am pet sitting for my brother's in-laws, so I can be near my brother around the corner, so we can deal with all the logistical stuff, but also just beautiful to have family around. And so I've been living on my own and really had a lot of time to just go with the emotion and also honor just being. And it's so interesting to observe my head. Oh, it's time, you've got to do something for your business now. There's this, I'm putting out a beautiful online journey in September, and it's like, go on, you've got to do this, you've got to do your invitation page. So this mind, and I'm going, no, I just want to be. And so I've given myself time to grieve and also deal with all the logistical stuff that unfortunately our society forces on us as soon as someone passes, which I was just pondering it before. It takes us out of our heart where the grieving happens, and we're in our head. I was in my head so much, so I had to keep coming back to the heart and letting the waves of emotion pass. Anyway, so it has been a beautiful journey, and I've been thinking about, I do want to create another video, and I just want to share a little bit with you about what's going on at the moment, what's present for me. And just to complete on that story about dear mum, is to say thank you for the beautiful messages. I sent out an email sharing the story, the final days with her, and I just received back some beautiful emails from people I didn't know they were on my list. Such beautiful words, and also in the Telegram chat. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, because those words and that love and that support just meant everything to me. You know, it was interesting. My brother made a comment. I asked if he'd let his best mate know. They'd been friends since school. And he said, "Oh no, I don't want the sympathy." And it was so interesting, because there's so many aspects of that, wasn't there? Isn't there? Because it's like, it would mean he'd have to drop in his heart to share that vulnerability with someone he's known for such a long time. But also, it was also interesting that it then denied that person the opportunity to share and to be compassionate and to share their sympathy, to share their love. And actually, this guy ended up finding out from someone else at the RAF base where my brother is, and sent the most beautiful message to him, and sharing, talking about my mother's wit and various things, which touched my brother so deeply. So we are all remembering how to be vulnerable, how to drop into our heart. And for me, particularly strongly, is to not allow my mind, to not just pull up into my mind, which has been a pattern all my life. And when the emotion gets too strong in my heart, that's where I can go, especially when it's an emotion such as grief, or even anger, any of those that we would term negative emotions, you know, the bad ones. So it's been interesting to watch myself with this. Anyway, that was a whole long story I wasn't meaning to share with you, but maybe it touched something in you. So I'm going to change tack now, and what I want to talk about is Venus, because actually I'm recording this on August 11th. Tomorrow is the conjunction between Venus and Jupiter. Now, I'm not an astrologer. However, my limited understanding of astrology tells me that that is very expansive, to have beautiful Venusian energy. And of course, I'm working with the energy of Venus all the time, because in many ways it's almost like in our solar system, that's the home of the rose line. And so being with that energy, and then having Jupiter come in with all of this expansion it's in Cancer, 14 degrees Cancer, and it's also with Sirius, which also sits at 14 degrees Cancer. And of course, Sirius has been celebrated in the last week or so over this Lionsgate time, and Sirius is rising right now, and Sirius is connected to the frequency of Isis, and so brings also that powerful goddess energy in. And so having Sirius and Venus and Jupiter come together feels really amazing. And with the work I've been looking at with Venus and the Rose of Venus, which I'll talk about next, I feel like that portal that the Rose of Venus creates is really expanding with this conjunction tomorrow. So tune into that energy and see how it weaves its way into your life and expands the Venusian qualities in some way in your life. And as the astrologers say, it depends where in your chart it happens. And actually for me, it is, because my Jupiter is in Cancer anyway, in my natal chart. And for me, it actually is in the 4th house of Cancer that this is happening. So, which is home. And you know, in many ways there's this connection with my home and my ancestors at the moment, and because of family being around. So yeah, there has been a big expansion in that. So I wanted to just bring that to your attention, so you can tune into that on the day, or even if you're afterwards, the effect will still be there for a little bit, and then talk to you about, or share with you, something that's been coming through since I was in Sardinia, where I was contemplating the Rose of Venus. I was actually looking at it. Now, if you're not familiar with the Rose of Venus, this is the pattern formed by Venus's cycle around the sun. So every 13 years, Venus makes 8 cycles around the sun, and and Venus and Earth come together in 5 times. So you've got the numbers 5, 8, and 13 here. All powerful numbers, all part of the Fibonacci sequence. And they connect with me. I connect with them a lot because 5 and 8 is my birth numbers. And of course 13 is the number of the goddess. And so just having this 5, 8, and 13 as part of the Rose of Venus. Anyway, that cycle makes the beautiful 5-pointed star, or a 5-petaled rose, which is the original rose. I'll put that image up now so you can have a look at it. And what came to me in Sardinia was, this is a portal. This is a portal for the galactic energies. And as Venus does this dance with the sun, the masculine energy, and the earth, a portal is created for the Galactic Rose. And the Galactic Rose is coming through very strongly for me at the moment, on my journey. When I was in Bulgaria, I created a video actually at the Door of the Goddess, and I also recorded a meditation there, and that meditation brought through the energy of the Galactic Rose. And so I'm sort of piecing this together. I'm like, wow, the Rose of Venus, that beautiful dance, is creating this portal for the Galactic Rose energy to come through. And then the next step that I've received around that for me is that this is almost like the doorway for the Mary frequency to come through. Now, the Mary came to me earlier this year and said that they were the galactic aspect of the rose line. So many of the beings that I channel, for example, Mary Magdalene, Joan of Arc, Francis of Assisi, Nefertiti, Queen of Sheba, all of these rose line beings are all aspects, but the Mary is almost like the oversoul, if you like, of that aspect. And I had a beautiful vision yesterday of a rose where every petal in the rose is a different rose line being, has its own frequency, but the rose herself is the Mary. And this has been strong for me, and I do have a small group of ladies who have done my priestess training with the rose line and are now in a group called the Mary. And the Mary is all about really stepping into our sovereignty, our leadership, really owning who we are and staying really powerful in that. And so that's my little story of the Mary, just to give a little background. And I think that leads me into sovereignty. Let me check my notes. Usually I just flow, but there were things I was like, I don't want to miss out on saying this. Okay. Yep. Yes, I'm on track. I'm on track. Sovereignty. Let's have a talk about that. Let me muse on sovereignty. So as I said at the beginning, sovereignty has been evident everywhere at the moment. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing this word pop up. And I feel that there has been an energetic shift enabling us to claim this more. Now, I'm sure it is the astrology. I'm sure it is the many different energetic changes going on the planet. But something has moved where it's almost like you have no choice now. It's time to become sovereign. And it might be difficult. You might be like, well, what's sovereignty? What is sovereignty? And one way to start in understanding the frequency of sovereignty is to maybe look at what the opposite of that would be. And that would be being a victim. We all have situations in our life or relationships in our life where we move into a victim pattern. And that's because we live in a society that is all about or encourages the victim. I mean, even look at the legal system and suing. I'm a victim of. You know, it's just so much a part of our society of to be a victim is almost taught, which is bizarre. But then you have to think about, well, if that is sort of like the opposite of the spectrum to sovereignty, is it because our system, our society, does not want everyone in their sovereignty? It's much easier if people are in their victim energy, where they hand over their power to a situation, to a person, to a government body, whatever that is, and then you can just point the finger and blame them. I do it. I truly think we all do it. But here's the thing, and this is what I'm aware of now. I am becoming more aware of it. If I drop into a victim behavior, and very often it's a pattern, it's something that I've done before, and it's in a certain situation. And if I do that now, I might still play it out, but afterwards I know straight away. I can identify it straight away, and I can tell because I feel a little depleted because I've given some of my power away. And these can be really simple things. They don't have to be major things. They can just be simple patterns. And underlying that victim behavior is a fear of something. There is a fear of something that causes you to drop into the victim, to give your power away to a situation or to a person or to some sort of entity, but as in government entity or something like that. I don't mean entity, maybe it is an entity. And it's depleting when you do that. You feel it, and you also feel the hook that you created in doing that. So I suggest you observe yourself. Observe when you feel suddenly a little depleted. Have I given away my power here? Have I gone into a victim here somehow? And it's amazing, once you start to observe yourself, you pick yourself up every time. And of course, that's how we learn. Because once we do that, then we start to almost preempt it. Then we get into a situation where that pattern would be so easy to just drop into, and we can catch ourselves, and we can hold our power, and we can stay in our sovereignty. And this means holding those energetic boundaries. This means honoring who you really are and not giving away your power. This means staying in love. And this is where we're all heading. This is what New Earth is. And we are stepping in that sovereignty now. But we're going in, moving out, going in, moving out. But as more of us go in, that's when you're going to start seeing the changes in the world. That is when all of these structures will no longer stand, because they only stand because of a victim behavior in the mass of people. So sovereignty is a powerful path for us to take into New Earth. And going back to the Rose of Venus and this portal and these galactic frequencies coming in through the portal, I feel that these are supporting us to claim our sovereignty, to be in your full power, to be the queen and the king of your queendom or kingdom, like of your body, your temple, your kingdom. And this is the Aquarian age. Because when all of us are in that place, we can come together in community and collaboration in such a powerful way without the usual relationship dynamics that were dictated by victim behavior. So what I'd love to share is a card I drew before I got on here. And this is from a deck that is, I already had it before I went to Sardinia, but I had time in Sardinia with a shaman, and Alessandro, and he will be part of the retreat I offer there next year. We'll have a couple of days with him, or at least one day. But this is his deck, the Neuragic Moon Oracle. It's just a small deck, and it's just it's got moon cards and full moon cards and new moon cards. And the card I drew is the card of rebirth. Bring light into your life. I am the light of your womb. In the sacred primordial waters, I am born. I see this as the birthing of your sovereign self. How beautiful is that? How powerful. Perhaps you are birthing your sovereign self, the Great Mother, is birthing your sovereign self, one and the same, from the primordial waters. So that just felt really powerful to share for this. Okay, I'm going to tune into the Mary and see what they have to say. I'm not sure it'll be a meditation because there's a bit of traffic noise, as I mentioned, near me, and I'm not sure I can get into the space for a meditation, but perhaps a transmission from the Mary. Actually, before I start, I did just want to mention I have made a decision, for now anyway, and I'm going to turn off the ads on my videos. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's a certain frequency coming through in my videos, a certain energy, whether it's just from what I'm sharing or whether it's from the site, the sacred land I'm on. There's a frequency coming through. And I feel like when that's disrupted by the ads, it disrupts it basically. And I don't want that. And so what I have decided to do instead, because the ads do support me a tiny amount, so in turning them off, what I've decided to do instead is just to share a PayPal link at the bottom of my videos, a PayPal me link. So if you feel that you would like to contribute in any way, because you've received something from what I do, that is welcome. Not expected at all, and I also very much appreciate just you commenting on the video, liking it if you like it. So, but I just wanted to point out that I have made that decision. Okay, so now let me go into the Mary. We come to you as sovereign beings, viewing you as a sovereign being. There have been cords and attachments, anchors that have stopped the shining of your sovereign light. However, your simple awareness is changing that. For this is all it takes. Just viewing yourself as forgetting your sovereignty for a moment while you adopted an old pattern. Just seeing that, just acknowledging that is all that is required to drop those cords, to drop that anchor, and to be free, to be sovereign. Perhaps it may happen again, but as soon as you see it, you have freed yourself. You have expanded the light of your sovereignty. And the more that light expands, the less it will retract and go into any sort of behavior or response that could be considered victim. That is a 3D density. And many of you now are spending less and less time in that frequency. So remind yourself, look in the mirror, see yourself, look deep in your eyes, and say to yourself, I am a sovereign being. And watch your light shine as you take back all your power, as you own the truth of who you are. You trust yourself, you believe in yourself, and the light that this shines is exactly what you are here to share. This is a simple message, but a powerful one. And it will become the foundation of the new and very familiar way of being, in a frequency of that which has been referred to as New Earth. It is a return to the Garden of Eden. Huanireas deoai, karani kuiren letu, huiranus deano, harani dualan, harani dualan, koran nesta. We are the Mary, and we send rose blessings to you. And if you enjoyed that transmission from the Mary, I am creating in September a journey, a 5-week online journey. It's going to be held every Monday. September is a powerful month. We have the equinox, we have the eclipses, and they're all near a Monday. And so the calls are going to tend to be really impacted by these energies. And the journey, it's a remember journey. I've held a few remember journeys before, and this one is remember the 5 initiations of the Mary. So I'm still creating that. I hope to have it done by Friday. So I will share that through my different channels, the newsletter, the Telegram group, and I'm sure I'll talk about it here in future videos if you'd like to join me on that online journey. I'm so excited for that. There's going to be a lot of new frequencies come through with that. So that's in the pipeline for September. Thank you for joining me today. Back in Australia. This video is no longer a part of the Activating the Rose line at Europe's sacred sites. That'll wait till next year now. I'll just move around Australia, the east coast of Australia a little bit, and activate it here. Rose blessings to you.